The struggle is over. The struggle is over for you. Hey y'all, hey, welcome to the next episode of the Deep Dive with Toya Creates. Today is Monday, May 11th, and we are gonna get into Beyond the Gates. It was great. But first, if you like content like this, you know the deal. Like, comment, follow, subscribe. I would love to have you as part of this community. Let's get into it. I'm going to start with my favorite part today. Okay. The struggle is over for Anita because we opened up with just the opening scene alone got me excited. We see Vernon walking up because Anita is doing her last chemo treatment today. So when he walks up about to go into the room, the bell, people who thankfully survive cancer, once they are done with their treatments, they get to ring the bell, signifying that they are done. So Vernon walked past the bell on his way into Anita's room, and I was like, yes, today is the day. So we saw Anita in there with her, like the headpiece that she has to wear. I think it's something like it's very cold. I think it's supposed to help with like hair follicles or something like that. I don't recall. I'm sorry. I'll have to look into it a little later. But she's in there finishing her last chemo session, and Ashley is there. She is like their dedicated nurse. This is her family. She loves them down, because Naomi's her bestie. So Anita and Vernon are just talking about everything, and Anita is discussing the battle and how it's almost done, and she tells Vernon that he was the light that got her through, because remember, y'all, Anita was about to give up. Okay, thankfully she only had an infection, and that is what caused all that pain like a month or so ago when she was ready to sign a DNR and pull the plug. She wasn't even there yet, but she was tired already. Thankfully, she has gotten through. This is her last chemo treatment. She still may have to do a mastectomy. We don't know what the level of that will be until they assess this last chemo treatment and just to see what's left of the tumor and what they have to remove. So we're already starting off on a great note. Now, this storyline was intertwined with Nicole and Danny, who happened to be waiting in the reception area of the hospital. They didn't want to overwhelm Anita with every member of the family today, so it is just basically Vernon and Nicole's immediate family that they created of their own loins. And, they're just waiting for Anita to be done. So during this time, Nicole is happy to have a long time with Danny because she want to chat about what had happened last week. You will recall she was getting it on with Carlton on the day of what should have been her anniversary to Teddy Weddy. And while she was rolling around in the sheets with Carlton, she started thinking about and hallucinating about Ted. I was like, oh my goodness. So Nicole is telling Danny this, and Danny's just like, it's no big deal. But Nicole's like, oh my God, girl, like I thought Ted was there. She felt awful. She felt like she was cheating on Carlton. Imagine that. Anyways, so Danny just admitted that, when things first happened with Bill and her, of course she had like the same kind of thoughts, and that passed, basically. You lied. But Bill will always have a special part in her life due to the children and all the years they shared, just like Nicole and Ted will. So, Nicole accepts that. She's like, that makes sense. Because Danny's like, oh, the psychiatrist is coming to me. I do declare. Anyways, so Nicole just, takes Danny's advice and she eases up on the situation and they move on. And so afterwards, Anita's finishing up with her chemo treatment and she leaves the room. Danny and Nicole are right at the door waiting for her and they surprise her. She clearly didn't know they were there. Ashley is there too, and this is when they got me, okay? Because Anita's done with her treatments and it is time for her to ring the bell. Now, Ashley is goofy sometimes, but she loves the Duprees because she loves Naomi. That is her bestie. And so she was getting choked up too, talking about the significance of the bell and how she was so happy this was happening. And I was here like it was my mama, my auntie. I don't know, but I get real wrapped up in these things. It was just so raw and real to me. This has probably been my favorite storyline to date with Beyond the Gates. I know it's a heavy, heavy topic, but it is a real topic. And Black women are, impacted disproportionately for a myriad of reasons that I'm not going to get into on this. But as a Black woman, it is important for other Black women and other people in general just to see what it's like from this perspective, what we go through, how it's handled. Granted, this is not fantasy, this is fiction and they are well off, but yes, these types of things still impact you regardless of your bank account because racial disparities in this country is a thing, but I'm not gonna go there today. This is one of my favorite storylines because I feel like it's very important. They shed a lot of light on cancer in general, the BRCA gene, breast cancer, how it impacts certain demographics. They showed us a lot about the treatment, and now we finally get to see the bell. So I think they did very well with this storyline. And I think it's something that separates this soap from other soaps. And I'm not saying other soaps have not done heavy storylines in the past. We know they have, just like, Brooke unfortunately was sexually assaulted on The Bold and the Beautiful, and they highlighted that. But that was very much back in the day. But they've also highlighted, like, Dylan being homeless, home insecurity, food insecurities. Yeah, but this one with Beyond the Gates to me was very thorough because we have been going through this storyline for almost 6 months. So very good job. Kudos to that. I was happy to see it. Yes, I cried when she rung that bell. And the family was so happy in the background. I loved it. So then after that, they all went to the estate. And Andre met them there. But we're going to talk about Andre also, about what he was doing earlier in the show. But he met the family there. So it's Anita, Vernon, Danny, Nicole, and Andre. And so they are just celebrating the end of the chemo. Andre thanks them very much for being included, and he just starts saying very encouraging, reflective words, and then that just kicks it off for everybody to go around the circle and start saying all of the good things. And so Nicole asks Anita, what was your biggest takeaway from this experience? And she said that it's been finding out that she could love Vernon and her family even more than she thought possible. And so we are out of the woods for this. We are just waiting to see what the mastectomy will be. If I believe they're still going to do that, a mastectomy or a lumpectomy. No, a mastectomy. And she has plans to travel with Vernon. They're going to go to New Orleans, and she plans on getting back with these articulates. Okay, I'm going to be nice today. And yes, the future is looking bright for Anita. So I am thrilled. And I feel like that was the biggest story of today. So one of the other stories we saw, I have a quick little list over here. You know the deal. Martin and Smitty and these damn kids. Okay. So we see Tyrell come downstairs and he has his little boxers in a bunch because he has just gotten off a phone call or FaceTime or whatever with Jessica. They were talking about cotillion stuff because Tyrell is on punishment for being sneaky the other week. And the only reason why he's even being allowed to speak to Jessica right now is because this cotillion is coming up in 2 days, which really means we'll probably see it next week. But, okay, so he is upset because he finds out that Jessica is committing to UCLA. And so he is fit to be tired about that because he loves that girl. She got his nose wide open. I feel like this is his first like real relationship or whatever because he was ready to run behind her to California when, it was even a possibility a couple of months ago. And Martin and Smitty were like, absolutely not. And yes, you are right. But it appears that Tyrell is still going to go to Banneker and Jessica is now going to UCLA and he is upset about that. He's upset about being punished because it's like I couldn't even talk to her in person because y'all got me punished. As if you didn't deserve that punishment, but whatever. And Tyrell's about to go off to college in the fall and he's smelling himself basically. And Martin and Smitty have kind of put a battery in his back as well. And so, okay, Martin was like, well, since, you're an adult, let's have an adult conversation about everything. And so they sit down and Tyrell's huffing and puffing. And, Martin's like, that's not how adults act. Tell him. So Tyrell is just talking about, at some point you have to take the training wheels off with me because I'm going to be gone and blah, blah, blah. Yes, we get it. But Martin and Smitty did a great job of guess what? This is the first time for us as parents as well. And we are learning as we go. And it's very hard for parents to let go of their kids at this age. I know from experience because, you probably can't tell, but I have an adult daughter. Yes, I have a 20-year-old, and yes, it is very hard transitioning from kid to adult, but it's necessary, but you have to give each other grace. And that's basically what this conversation was. So I like to see, this type of dynamic on a soap too, because it's real life. Now, can someone help me with this? I thought Tyrell and Samantha were twins. Were they not presented as twins? Because Tyrell is a senior, but Samantha is a junior. Okay, whatever. So, tied into this storyline, this was intertwined with Samantha, who was first at Orphe Jeans, and she was, I think she was there to pick up the breakfast because Martin and Smitty and Tyrell and Samantha are supposed to have a little family breakfast, which is nice. So she was there to pick up the food and June was like, oh, you're here early. And Samantha's like, yeah, but it gives us time to talk. So Samantha is very, very afraid. She's nervous, because the cotillion is 2 days away and she is very nervous to be dealing with a room full of VIPs looking at her, and she has major butterflies because although she is the spokesperson for Chelsea Cat, she said the difference is that she can't see those people in front of her. They're on the computer. So she's like, fine, this is a little more difficult, and she feels a lot of pressure to win platinum debutante. She wants to keep the Dupree legacy going, and she doesn't want to let the family down. So June is talking her daughter up. June is very good at this. She's very good at this. She was like, there's no way you could let the family down, and you don't need to be nervous and all of that. Now, even this is why I love June. I love this storyline. So even with Samantha being so nervous, so Eva walks in. She's on the phone at first, but she acknowledges them, says hi, sits down. So when she's done with her conversation, Samantha goes over. So Eva used to be a hairstylist, y'all. Y'all remember this, until she had Daddy Warbucks Teddy Weddy gave her a job. Now she got two jobs, so she can't do the cosmetology stuff anymore, which is her passion. So she is going to be preparing her niece for the cotillion, which I love. Oh my God. It's so real life. Okay, whatever. So Samantha goes over to Eva, and they're talking about how the prep is going to be good. And Samantha asks if she could please add her mother, Judith, too. They be killing me on this soap. It's so sweet. So then Jude just happens to go over because she is doing, she's working. And she's like refilling Eva's cup and stuff. And Eva was like, hey, she didn't phrase it like, oh, Samantha asked me to include you. She was just like, hey, do you want to come with us to get ready for the prep? And, and then that's how she weaves it in. Because Jude don't ever want anything from them, which is great. She could have been a terrible, horrible person. But she's just like... Eva was like, well, I'll do your hair too. And Jude was like, well, that sounds like money. And and Eva was like, oh no, it's gonna be free. I used to be a cosmetologist. This is my passion. I love getting people together. Because it doesn't sound like Eva's going to actually attend the cotillion, because it also falls on her birthday. And she also said it wasn't really her thing. Because, Eva didn't come from all this hoity-toity background, and I get it. And so this is Eva's contribution, which I think is still nice. She's gonna get Samantha together, Jessica, and now June. So I am looking forward to those scenes. June says yes after she hears it's free, and Samantha is literally begging her because she wants her mama in her life. This is a big moment. Ooh, sorry. And she wants her mama in her life. So it's so sweet. June says yes. And I'm excited to see those scenes. So then this is also kind of intertwined with Leslie as well. So we're done with that part. Earlier, we see Leslie and Ted interacting at the club because they just happen to run into each other. And Ted is pissed. Okay, Ted is mad about what happened with Shanice the other day, and Leslie still picking and provoking. He was like, I know you're smart, so, you just need to shut your mouth and listen. He came in real strong, right? He was like, what you did to Shanice was inappropriate the other day. You basically, you offended Shanice. Stop messing with her. And Leslie will remain his former side piece, and to stop pushing Shanice's buttons. So we came in strong, and he was huffing off to his little basketball game. And Leslie was like, You think I don't have anything to say? And then she hits him with the, well, Eva's birthday is coming up, and you had time to go to Kat's birthday. So what you doing for Eva? Ted just folded so damn quick. So Leslie has decided she is celebrating her daughter tonight. And Ted, you better be there. And here go Ted. Oh, well, does Eva know? You folded so fast. I would have been like, you know what? Whatever. Shanice is coming with me. That's what I would have said. And he would have shut this all down. But he didn't say that. He just gave up the ghost. He was like, oh, for Eva. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. So then he goes off to his little basketball game. So then after this, Leslie summons Derek to the country club as well. Derek is her employee for the clinic, technically, but he's only supposed to report to Eva because Leslie is a menace. So Leah Whitmore done called Leslie because Leslie wants to secure a partnership with Garland Memorial for this clinic. Now, Leah heard from Grayson, Derek don't want me volunteering in this clinic, and Leah's like, I don't give a damn. Okay, I need you to get as much blood as possible. So Leah complained to Leslie, who then took it into her hands to address Derek about it. And so he shows up. He was like, "What? Like, what's going on? Everything's going smoothly with the clinic." And that's when Leslie says she got a call from Leah about you not allowing Grayson to volunteer. Now Derek is trying to explain why, because he felt Grayson was a problem and was casing the joint, yada, yada, yada. Leslie does not buy it because she knows about his personal dealings with Ashley, and she's like, tough titty, basically. She told him to get on board or lose his job, and Grayson will be donating his time whenever he chooses. End of story. So then after that exchange, Leslie goes to Orphe Jean's where Eva still is. And she tells her that she had to basically talk to Derek. And Eva was like, oh my God, is he still employed? Because Derek don't want nothing to do with Leslie. And he made it clear. But Leslie said, yeah, it was like a fine conversation. And she told why, because Leah complained, and so she handled it. So Eva didn't have no problem with that. So then she informs Eva that we're celebrating your birthday tonight, and Eva's like, my birthday is another day, right? And Leslie was like, how could I forget? With your big head, I was in labor for 26 hours with no pain medication. I'll never forget the day. Happy Mother's Day. Anyways, so then, oh my God, June came over again. Because, again, she's working. And Leslie was throwing some shots at June. And I don't like it. Okay, so they were just talking about how Eva was going to do June's hair and this and that. And Leslie said something about like how Leslie was living under a bridge or something before. How June was living under a bridge before. Why Leslie gotta be so nasty all the time? Like, girl, get therapy. But June, she was like, oh, well, are you going to be at the cotillion too? And Leslie was like, no, she didn't get that. She didn't, make the invite list. And she was like, oh, that's a shame because anybody is going to be there because June going to be there. So I like that. Anyways, so then Leslie had a tender moment with Eva because Eva's just like, Leslie can't believe that Eva will rather be helping Samantha and June and Jessica on her birthday instead of partying it up. And Eva's just like, everything's not about money. Everything's about, not about living it up, whatever. She enjoys these things, okay? And Leslie just had a tender moment. She just feels left out in the cold a little bit because, Eva is now hanging out with her other family and Leslie's like, I don't have anyone except for Peaches and you. And so, Leslie talked about how she just lost out on a lot of time, all the time with her own mother because of Anita's selfishness. And Eva was like, oh, the same selfishness that is funding your new life? Because Eva's not here for that. People can say what they want to say about Eva. She be checking her mom, okay? But she's still loyal to her mom, which I get. Her mother birthed her, raised her. I understand. It's not good for Eva, but I understand. Anyways, and then that's when Leslie was just like, all the money in the world is not going to make up for the time she missed. And that is what she is also trying to give Eva because, Ted didn't know she even existed. So he missed all of the birthdays except for last year. And that's why Leslie wants to have this little thing tonight. Okay. So then Ted finally makes it into the or to his basketball game. He is playing with Isaiah and Andre. So Isaiah and Andre are there first, and Andre's just messing with Isaiah. He's just like, oh, I see. I wonder why Ted invited you. I guess he's like, keep your friends close and your enemies even closer. And Isaiah was like, I thought we were cool. And Andre was like, well, I'm just messing with you. So then they have their little game and they come back and they are Team TIA, which is cute because that means stroke. But it also stands for Ted, Isaiah, and Andre. And so Ted says, I want to talk to you, Isaiah, after, we get cleaned up and stuff. And Andre's like, oh, okay. Don't worry about it, Isaiah. I'm sure it's nothing. And then Andre heads off. That's where he was before he went over to celebrate the end of chemo with the rest of the Duprees. And so Ted is like, okay, let's go get a meal. And then he and Isaiah sit down in the club and they're just talking about everything. And Isaiah's like, oh, you really are a gentleman. Because it's like, ooh, this is so extra. Because Ted did all of this just to basically ask Isaiah if he would be available and open to coming to the dinner that Leslie has just planned today. The formality of it. Isaiah was like, okay. So then Isaiah also offers to cook for everyone and have a nice, intimate dinner. I think he said at his house. I could be wrong. It could very well end up being at Eva's house because I don't think we've seen Isaiah's dwelling place just yet. But whatever. He is offered to make a nice little intimate dinner and for four. And Ted said that's great. Now, Ted, if I'm you, number one, when Leslie was approaching me, I would have been like, Shanice is coming. And that would have shut down that dinner. I am sure. And even with this, I would talk to Shanice privately first just to say, like, I'm showing you, you are the person I want to be with. I would like to invite you as my plus one. If it goes down, it goes down, but you still, with your actions, you would be showing Shanice she is the number one. And you would also be showing Leslie that she is the former side piece, and that will never happen again. That's just my thoughts on it. But as it stands, Isaiah is going to chef it up, and they are going to have an intimate dinner. Let's see how it goes. So, other things that happened. The whole blood plasma thing is picking up. For me. For others, no. For me, I'm entertained. So, Naomi and Jacob were able to have some alone time in the motel. He was like, I was worried it was too late and you wouldn't come, but you came over, and then they're all lovey-dovey, and then that takes a little turn. It's not bad, but Naomi is just like freaking out. She is so worried about the case. Everything is spinning out of control. She has so many questions, and she wants Jacob to answer something. Now, Jacob reassures her that he has people in place protecting Naomi and Ashley, but Naomi still wants to know why all of this is happening. Jacob is like, I will explain it when it's all over, but Naomi wants to know the why, because she's basically like, if Grayson is dangerous to my friend, we need to know, and I need to tell my friend. And if someone is after her at the hospital, how can Ashley do her job if she's paranoid all the time? How do we need to know who it is? It's too dangerous. So after a while, Jacob was like, all right, damn, I'll tell you. He ain't say it like that, but that man was like, she wore him down, okay? Because Jacob's like, he doesn't believe Grayson is a bad guy now, and Grayson just got caught up. And so Naomi is like, what is going on? So Jacob relents, and he says, but Naomi, only you and Ashley can know this. Do not say anything. And that's where their little part leaves. So you're left wondering, like, is he going to tell her what happened? And so at the hospital, Ashley is there, and Derek happens to come by because, Leslie basically said, make it right with Leah. So he was there to see Leah, but she wasn't around. And so Derek wanted to talk to Ashley to smooth things over. Because the last time they were around each other, I think it was in Orphe Jeans with Eva and Naomi as well. And Ashley was basically calling him a bold-faced liar about Grayson. And basically saying he was jealous. And Derek, had ulterior motives. And that's why he's saying this derogatory stuff about my man, my man, my man. So then Derek says that his mind was changed for him regarding the voluntary, because Derek stands firm on that. He thinks Grayson is up to something, and Derek was not wrong. He doesn't know, but okay, let's keep going. And so Ashley is talking to Derek, and she tells him he was right about Grayson and that he's not, the man she thought he was. And Derek was like, what'd he do? He's ready. But Ashley was like, I can't really get into it, but she does reiterate that she has not lost her feelings for Grayson. So she wants to be clear on that. And Derek is just sorry that she's hurting right now. And he gives her a hug, and he was like, he is there to help. He's also happy that Ashley undoubtedly has Naomi here to help with her as well, and that makes him feel comforted. And he just basically says he will be there for Ashley whenever she needs him, and he leaves. So no sooner does that elevator door close, Naomi's getting off the other set of elevators looking for Ashley. She pulls Ashley to the side and she is like, girl, you will not believe who Jacob told me is the person that you need to look out for in this hospital. But you cannot say anything. And Ashley's like, okay. So then Naomi tells her it is Leah Whitmore who is putting you in danger. And that is how it ends. So, the entire truth is now out as it pertains to Grayson's contact at the hospital. We still don't know who the head honcho is at the top of this blood plasma ring, but I really hope we find out soon. I cannot wait to hear what Ashley says about this, because Leah's been clearly gunning for her for a long time. So, I'm sure this makes some sense, but at the same time makes no sense. I am ready to see this cotillion and be done with it. Yeah, I'm ready for things to actually come out with what Leslie did as well, a full calendar year ago. I like Leslie, but this is unrealistic to keep dragging this out. And I want to see what happens with Ted and Shanice and Ted and Nicole, because I don't think Nicole is... No. This is more than what Danny's trying to make it out to be. Even though, again, two things can be right. So, we will see what's going on. I am ready for what's next. Hope you are too. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.